All right, so this is 10 ways on how to prepare for the academic job market. So let's get started. I already mentioned that this is part of the faculty job search camp. We have different themes that we are going to touch on different days. So today is the theme of how to prepare for the job market. We have other sessions today later on. We have a session from faculty, recent faculty in humanities and social sciences at 10:45. At I think 2 o'clock, we have a panel of faculty who are in STEM fields, and then we have a session on how to network at conferences. So make sure to sign up for those programs if you haven't already done so. All right. So my name is Tithi Basu Malik, and I'm the Associate Director for PhD Career and Professional Development, which means my work specifically focuses on supporting PhD students and postdocs in terms of their career support. So in terms of preparing for the academic job market, we all know it's a long and sometimes arduous process. How should we go about it? The best way to do it is think of it in terms of stages, right? Before you enter the job market, think about a phase where you're thinking of, okay, what is the general strategy? Then spend some time developing your materials, developing everything, and then move on to implementation. As with any large task or goal, if you think of it as like this big, giant goal of applying to faculty roles, it can often feel very overwhelming. What we recommended is breaking down into smaller, sizable phases, into actionable goals so that you can take those actions and that can help you build momentum. Okay, so in terms of the phase of strategy, what can we do to help us feel more prepared for the academic job market? And the first thing that you all should be doing is understand what are your own goals. What are some of the things that you want to achieve in terms of the job market, but also your life, your own priorities. So if that is like staying in a big city, think about that, note it down. If it's being in close proximity to family and friends, geographic area, if you want to be in a specific country, or if you want to move to a different country, note down all of those goals, because that will help you sort of narrow down your scope of inquiry. It's also very important to know your own strengths. Like, what are some of your strengths? Are you stronger in terms as a qualitative researcher or a quantitative researcher? Do you enjoy a lot of time doing bench work? Or would you rather be writing papers? What are your own strengths? And as a faculty member, you might be required to do some combination of all of these things. But if you know your own strengths, you can sell them, you can market yourself better during the whole job application process. This is why it's very, very important to know where your own strength lies and how you want to sort of advocate for yourself. It's also important to reflect on expertise, right? What's your research focus? How does it align with the departments that you're interested in looking in? What are your contributions to your field? So sometimes in terms of contributions, people often think about, oh yeah, I have so many publications or so many presentations, but you might be overlooking service. Have you done a lot of service? Have you helped organize conferences? Have you led graduate student organizations? Those can all be very important part of your application package. So make sure to take stock of all of your contributions, all of your strengths, and look at it through the lens of your own goals and where you want to be. Secondly, networking is very important, right? People often network, but what we advocate is network with purpose. Know who are the people you want to connect with, how do you want to connect with, what would be beneficial. So build relationships with people in your field, particularly those people who are doing similar sort of academic work. Always be looking out for ways to expand your academic network. Make sure to attend conferences, right? And if you're applying to be on the job market this year, this might not apply as much, but if you're looking to get on the job market next year or the year before, make sure to attend as many conferences as possible, go to academic conferences, particularly if they're relevant to your research, because you're likely to meet people who work in your specific subdiscipline or area of expertise, and be sure to connect with them. Also join academic organizations if they're relevant. Try to be an active part of those organizations. So if there is an opportunity for you all to be, reviewing papers, do that, because that can be very important for various things, particularly if you're international and you hope to apply for a green card. The number of, peer reviews you have conducted is super important. So be looking out for ways to really connect and contribute in the community. And you want to collaborate as much as possible with people in your department, outside of your department, because that really showcases that you're a team player and you can work and function as a part of a department, as a colleague. Faculty members, when they're evaluating your applications, they'll be able to see that and they'll know that they can count on you to collaborate and do work together. Okay. What else do you want to do? You want to research institutions and job opportunities, right? There are so many different types of institutions where you can find roles as faculty members. Some of these are R1 institutions like Penn, but there are also many other types of institutions. There are R2 organizations, there are teaching-focused organizations, there are small liberal arts colleges, and all of the things that these institutions are going to look for is slightly different from the other. And even amongst R1 institutions, they have different areas of focus. There are different things you want to talk about. So thoroughly research each institution and figure out, okay, what do you want to do? Do you enjoy teaching more than you enjoy research? Then find institutions that will allow for you to be able to do that. Do you enjoy research more? Or do you enjoy some combination of teaching and research? Then think about what are some institutions that allow you to do that. Look at job boards, specifically for academic jobs. There are often dedicated job boards. Look at those, look at, okay, what are some areas in which tons of jobs are getting posted? So my own academic discipline, for example, is philosophy. And when I was looking to go on the job market, a lot of jobs were getting posted with the specialization of ethics. So I knew that was like a hot topic, right? So know what the hot topics are and think about what are some ways that you can connect and intersect your work with some of the areas that seem to be in demand. Networking is, of course, very important. Networking is even more important if you're looking for postdoc positions. Oftentimes, postdoc positions might not be as formally advertised as, a full-time faculty role. Oftentimes, how people find postdoctoral opportunities is by talking to people and figuring out that there is some funding and you can join that lab or join that institute and be doing some research. So that is another reason why it's very important to talk to people and get a sense of where there are opportunities. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about what are some of the things that you can do in terms of developing. You want to, before you go on the job market, you want to develop your relationship with your references. This is a very important strategic step. Don't spring this as a surprise on your references. Make sure to choose wisely. So don't just find the biggest names, right, that you know of. Find references who can actually speak to your research, your teaching, and your other abilities, and can speak highly of you and can speak in a meaningful way, right? It's not just somebody you have known in passing, somebody that really knows your research or really knows your teaching abilities. And it's always good to find people who can speak to different things. So if you have your, main advisor talking a lot about your research, think about who else have you TA'd a lot for? Have you been a teaching assistant for many years or for one particular semester for one particular individual? This person will be able to talk about your teaching abilities more. So approach them, be strategic in how you're choosing your references. Also, always connect with all of your references and share your application materials and get their feedback. That way they know like what you're talking about in your application materials, and they can write their letters to sort of bolster and align what they're saying about you in their letters of recommendation. So keep that in mind. Share your applications and also ask them for feedback. They are individuals who have oftentimes been on the job market themselves. So their feedback is very, very valuable. Reach out to them. You want to make sure you are identifying roles and you're identifying all kinds of deadlines. Different roles have different kinds of deadlines. Make sure to actually mark a calendar and identify what are the application closing dates for each of the things that you're interested in applying. Some positions have very, very early deadlines, right? So make sure some have like closing dates in August, while others are like late in September. You don't want to miss any important opportunities just because you weren't aware. So make sure. You want to absolutely spend some time understanding job descriptions. So after a job that is posted that you're interested in, take some time and actually go through the job post, highlight what are some of the keywords. Are they talking a lot about teaching? Are they talking about supporting underserved communities? Are they talking a lot about doing service? What is the main emphasis of this role? Do they want you to start a new institute in that role? Are they looking for somebody to bring in a lot of funding? What are they looking for? So do that. Find out, whether the role has an emphasis on teaching or research. And this is particularly true of institutes that are that offer some combination of research and teaching. So for example, small liberal arts colleges where oftentimes research is important, but so is teaching. Look at the job posting to figure out, is teaching more important? Is research more important? Look at the profiles of people that are already in those departments, right? What kind of research track record do they have? Are they required to publish frequently, or is teaching their main responsibility? Look at all of these things and they will give you a good understanding of how to really approach applying to particular institutions or particular roles. So in general, I would say, look at faculty in specific departments. And if you're applying to postdocs, look at postdoc alumni in those particular roles. Where are they? Are they in academic positions? Have they transitioned to other roles? Were they publishing a lot while they were a postdoc there? All of these things, very, very important. Also, make sure to note what are the document requirements. There are different institutions have different document requirements. Needless to say, you'll have to submit your CV, your cover letter almost everywhere. But other than that, some people might be asking for a teaching philosophy. Somebody else might be asking you for, some demonstration of your teaching excellence in the form of student reviews. Other people might be asking you to submit a diversity statement, a letter of faith. There are all kinds of documents that different institutions ask for. So make sure to look at what those requirements are and align your applications with each of those. I see your question in the chat, Anna. Since we'll need to sort of wrap this up soon, I will come back to your question in about 10 minutes or so, if that's okay. All right. So the other thing to keep in mind is the job application process is long and hard, but you don't have to do it alone. There are tons of resources that you can take advantage of in this process, right? So what I have linked here is the PhD career training platform. And Lisa, if you can drop a link to the PhD career training platform in the chat. It is a terrific resource that has all kinds of information And they have a whole dedicated track on how to prepare for faculty careers. You can actually log in to the PhD career training platform by using your pen key and password, and you'd be able to take advantage of all of these like videos and information that they already have curated for you all. The other thing that you all can do is also take advantage of the different videos that we have uploaded over the years on our own YouTube channel. So Penn Career Services has a YouTube page. And if you're actually in the session, you know, we are recording this session, and this session will eventually be uploaded into our Penn Career Services YouTube page. Hopefully I'm preempting a question that many of you had around like where you might be able to access recordings in the future. It's on our YouTube page. So if you haven't subscribed to it, please subscribe to it. And even if you don't subscribe to it, you can see many of the videos that we already have uploaded over the years. So you can see here a screenshot around academic job market advice, and we have a whole playlist dedicated to it. So be sure to check out the different resources on our YouTube page. All right. So moving on, let's talk about all of this research and information gathering that you'll be doing in preparation for going on the academic job market. How do you implement it in a meaningful and purposeful way? One of the things that you all absolutely need to do is tailor. You need to tailor to every role. You need to really think about, okay, each institution, what are their missions, what are their values, where is their research focus, and think about how your own strengths and your expertise intersects with them and how you can add value to it. And people hate hearing this, but there is no other recourse to tailoring. You really have to tailor your application materials to each institution, each role that you apply to. You want to really address the institution's focus, the department's focus in your research statement, in your teaching philosophy. You have to have personalized documents mentioning specific qualities about the institution. This is where it's very easy for departments to boot applicants out, because they know, like, okay, by looking at the application material, that this is a generic document that they have just like sent to every other, you know, application that is open. In contrast, if you really spend the time to tailoring your application materials to that job post, then the department knows that you have gone the extra mile, and they're more likely to be interested in you because they know you're very serious about applying to them and being a colleague at that institution. So tailoring, if there is one message that you all take away from the session today, I would say it is the need to tailor your application materials to every specific job that you all apply to. Okay. Application materials, writing a good application material, putting a good application packet together, it's an iterative process. Nobody gets it right in one go. If you speak to anybody, they will tell you about how many times they have gone back and revised and improved and iterated upon each document. So reach out to multiple people, right? Not just your references, but reach out to, you're all in a university ecosystem, which is rich with all kinds of perspectives that you can get. So reach out to career services, get their feedback. Reach out to Center for Teaching and Learning. They have amazing feedback on how to write good pedagogy-focused documents. And speaking of which, we do have sessions from Center for Teaching and Learning next Monday. If you haven't signed up for those, be sure to sign up for those. And Lisa, if you can drop a link to the CTL focus sessions in the chat, that would be terrific. So always be speaking with your whole own committee members, all of your references. Ask them for feedback on all of your application documents. If you have already been on the job market previously, think about, okay, what are some of the things that you can do differently this time? What are your learnings from previous time? How can you improve? How can you iterate? So take some time to do that. In terms of next steps, don't just, after you have all of your documents together and you have sent them away, it's unfortunately time to do more work, right? You need to spend some time to really prepare for the interviews that might be coming. We have resources around helping you all prepare for interviews. We offer mock interview appointments. So if you're interested in those, you can sign up for mock interviews with us. You can practice your responses to common interview questions. You can reach out to your department and you can schedule job talks. You can incorporate that feedback to refine your presentation and such. If many institutions require teaching demonstrations as a part of their interview process, which again, we have a session on how to give an effective teaching demonstration. If you haven't signed up for that, sign up for that session. So make sure to rehearse your teaching demonstration, sharpen all of your teaching related skills, take time to do that. Something else, even though it doesn't come up immediately, but you want to be aware and you want to have some knowledge about how to approach negotiation. What are some of the things that you can talk about? If you're interested in dual hiring, how should you be approaching it? If you need green card sponsorship, when you have that conversation and things like that. So I would recommend spending some time doing some research after you have sent your application materials along on each of these topics. And in terms of, the final thing, I would say it's very important to keep your focus on things that are in your control. The academic job market, it can be long, it can be hard, it can be harsh. It is very important to cultivate a positive and resilient mindset as much as possible. Reach out, seek support from mentors, seek support from peers as you navigate the uncertainties of the job market. In terms of seeking support from each other, what we are doing this year is we are piloting a program called the Faculty Job Search Cohort, where people who are currently on the job market together can come together, form a strong community. And this will allow you to workshop your materials with each other, and Penn Career Services is going to be there with you all every step of the way to make this cohort successful. But if you have questions, you can brainstorm together, you can find answers together, and it'll just be a very supportive, collaborative space for you all to go through the academic job market process together. If you're interested in that cohort, we are opening the application for that today. It's a very short application process. So please spend some time and apply to the Faculty Job Search Cohort. We would love to have you all as a part of that cohort if you're actively on the job market this year. Maintaining a positive attitude is very important, and recognizing that some things are in your control and some things are not, right? What are some of the things that are not really in your control? Who's your competition? You're never going to know. What is the selection process? What is the departmental budget? What are they looking for? What are their needs? Do they want to hire somebody with a certain area of expertise, or would they rather be hiring somebody else? You don't know these things, so there is no point to spending your effort and energy thinking about these things. So instead, focus on things in your control, like, okay, can I be improving my document in other ways? If so, how? Who else can I be speaking to? Can I get feedback from somebody else? Can I do a job talk and schedule a job talk with my department? So these are things that are in your control. Focus on these things and you just feel a lot better about, being on the academic job market, which can oftentimes be very, very hard. All right. So with that, I will stop my presentation.